Tokyo 2025. Shericka Jackson and Ashanti Dazzle in 200m semis. Fire runner #epic race highlights. A night of electricity in Tokyo. The 200m has always been track and field symphony of speed and rhythm, a dance between raw power and technical finesse. At the 2025 World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, the women's 200-meter semifinals delivered a spectacle so electrifying that it felt less like a prelude and more like the main event. From the moment the sprinters stepped onto the track, the energy in the stadium shifted. Jamaican fans waved flags and sang in unison, anticipating greatness. They weren't disappointed. Shericka Jackson, the reigning queen of the 200m, and her rising compatriot Ashanti blazed down the track, reminding the world that Jamaica's sprint dominance is alive, fierce, and only getting stronger. The build-up, a championship buzz. The Tokyo Championships had already been filled with stories of shattered records and emotional comebacks, but the women's 200-meter was one of the marquee events everyone circled on their calendar. Shericka Jackson, the defending world champion and Olympic gold medalist, had been untouchable in recent seasons. Known for her devastating top-end speed, she entered the semis as the overwhelming favorite. Ashanti, once considered a dark horse, had grown into a formidable contender. Her consistency, raw drive, and newfound confidence made her not just a Jamaican teammate but a genuine threat to the podium. The semifinals were always going to be about more than just who qualified. They were about sending a message, about testing rivals, psyching them out, and showing just enough firepower to strike fear ahead of the final. The stadium atmosphere. The National Olympic Stadium in Tokyo vibrated with anticipation. The crowd was a mosaic of flags, Jamaican green, gold, and black dominating the stands. Chants of Jamaica, Jamaica, echoed like drums, a rhythm that pulsed through the athletes waiting in the coal room. When the sprinters emerged, the noise erupted. Cameras zoomed in on Shericka Jackson, her face calm but her eyes piercing with focus. She barely cracked a smile. Beside her, Ashanti looked relaxed, even playful, bouncing lightly on her toes as if the biggest race of her life was simply another practice rep. Heat 1, Jackson's masterclass. The announcer's voice boomed across the stadium. On your marks. Shericka Jackson crouched into her blocks in semifinal 1, flanked by a talented field that included Dina Ashsmith of Great Britain and Abby Steiner of the United States. Both women had the pedigree to push her, but Jackson's reputation loomed large. The gun fired. Jackson's start, often considered her only weakness earlier in her career, was crisp and explosive. She powered through the curve with controlled aggression, already making up the stagger on her outside rivals. By the halfway point, it was clear this was vintage Shericka. Her long, fluid strides ate up the track, her form near flawless. The others fought to keep pace, but the separation grew. As she hit the home straight, Jackson eased slightly, conserving energy but still crossing the line first in 21.73 seconds, the fastest time of the semifinals. The crowd roared. Analysts shook their heads in awe. It wasn't just the speed. It was the ease. She looked untouchable, as though she still had gears left unused. Dina Ashsmith grabbed second in 22.05. Steiner clinched third in 22.15. But all eyes were on Jackson. She had delivered a message. Catch me if you can. Heat 2, Moore's breakthrough. If Heat 1 was Jackson's masterclass, semifinal 2 was Ashanti Moore's coming-out party. Lining up against American Gabby Thomas, a perennial 200m powerhouse, Moore knew this was a chance to prove she belonged among the elite. The gun fired, and Moore exploded out of the blocks. Her drive phase was electric, her knees punching high, her arms pumping with perfect synchronization. By the time she hit the curve, she was shoulder to shoulder with Thomas. The stadium roared as the two battled stride for stride down the straight. Thomas, with a smooth acceleration, tried to edge ahead. But Moore was relentless, her grit shining through with every step. In the final 30 meters, Moore surged, separating herself just enough to cross the line first in 21.92 seconds, with Thomas clocking 21.99. The crowd erupted in disbelief. Moore had beaten one of the best in the world, not by luck, but by sheer strength and composure. Her celebration was pure joy, arms raised, a wide smile breaking across her face. She had arrived, and everyone knew it. Heat 3, the global field. The final semifinal brought together stars like Shawnee Miluibo of the Bahamas, returning from maternity leave, and Julian Alfred of St. Lucia, the NCAA sprint queen. The race was fierce, but Alfred powered through to win in 22.01, while Miller Weibo, still regaining her rhythm, took second in 22.18. The field was deep, but none looked quite as commanding as Jackson or Moore. The narrative was clear. Jamaica wasn't just sending athletes to the final. They were sending warriors, reactions and shockwaves. By the end of the semifinals, social media was ablaze. Twitter or X exploded with highlights of Jackson's effortless domination. One viral post read, "Shericka isn't running. She's floating. Untouchable. Crown Jamaican #Tokyo 2025. Ashanti Moore trended worldwide, with fans hailing her as Jamaica's next big sprint star. Comments flooded in. Ashanti Moore just announced herself to the world. If Shericka is the queen, Ashanti is the heir to the throne. The buzz wasn't just about Jamaica, though. Rivals felt the heat. Gabby Thomas admitted in a post-race interview, "Moore was phenomenal tonight. I thought I had her, but she found another guy. Tomorrow is going to be fireworks." Dina Asher-Smith praised Jackson. "She makes it look so easy. The rest of us are fighting to stay close." The legacy of Jamaican sprinting. The sight of Jackson and Moore dominating reignited conversations about Jamaica's sprint dynasty. From Malene Orty to Veronica Campbell-Brown, from Shelley Ann Fraser-Price to Elaine Thompson-Herah, Jamaica has consistently produced world-class sprinters who rewrite history. Shericka Jackson, once a 400m specialist, reinvented herself into the world's fastest woman over 200m. Ashanti Moore, meanwhile, represents the next wave, hungry, fearless, and ready to step into the limelight. The psychology of dominance. Semifinals aren't just about qualifying. They're about intimidation. Jackson's relaxed 21.73 and Moore's fearless 21.92 sent psychological shockwaves across the field. Rivals knew that to beat them in the final, they would need something extraordinary, perhaps even a record-breaking performance. For athletes, belief is half the battle. And on this night, belief shifted heavily in Jamaica's favor. The final showdown awaits. As the dust settled, one truth was undeniable. The 200-meter final in Tokyo would be historic. Could Shericka Jackson defend her crown with another jaw-dropping performance? Could Ashanti Moore shock the world again and turn her semifinal brilliance into a medal? Would Gabby Thomas or Dina Asher-Smith find another gear? Could Julian Alfred rise from NCAA star to global champion? The stage was set for a clash of generations, styles, and nations. Beyond the track, human stories. Both Jackson and Moore's journeys added emotional depth to the spectacle. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like and share. Till next time.